There is a gate in the Appalachian Mountains that carried coal trucks every hour of the day in 1952. By 1953, it was gone from every state map. No agency claimed it. No filing explained it. But the gate is still there, chained, rusted, standing on land nobody will discuss. Tonight we're counting down 8 mining roads across West Virginia and Virginia, each one sealed off without a clear reason on record. None of the official explanations hold up. And that gate from tonight's opening? It's number 1. The record behind it is stranger than anything else on this list. Number 8, Superior, West Virginia. Superior was named with more optimism than the town ever earned. The coal camp opened in 1917, tucked into a narrow hollow with a single road connecting it to the outside world. Nothing dramatic happened here. No explosion, no strike, no gunfire on record. The town simply declined through the 1940s until the last resident packed up and left, and the hollow went quiet in a way that felt almost peaceful compared to what came later on this list. By 1961, the access road was gated under a maintenance cost order. 6 years after anyone had lived there, the state finally admitted the road wasn't worth keeping open. Here's the part that doesn't add up. State transportation records from that same year still classified the Superior Road under a category reserved for routes with active daily traffic, not abandoned ones. Someone budgeted upkeep money for a road serving nobody. Then it was gated anyway, without the classification ever being corrected. The paperwork contradicts its own filing date. Nobody has fixed it in over 60 years. Walk that hollow today, and you'll find the road bed still visible under decades of undergrowth, a straight scar through the trees leading nowhere. Old fence posts lean at odd angles along what used to be the shoulder, and in early spring, wildflowers grow in rows that still trace the outline of the vanished road. County officials, when asked, can point to the gate. Nobody can explain why the records never matched what actually happened on the ground. Superior's mystery is quiet. The next one isn't. Number 7, Ammonite, Virginia. The Pocahontas coal seam ran directly beneath Ammonite, one of the richest coal deposits ever discovered in North America. 3 separate mining operations used the town's single access road between 1910 and 1955, enough combined traffic that the state stationed a full-time inspector at the base of the route. His job was simple: monitor road conditions and file monthly reports, the kind of routine paperwork nobody expects to matter 50 years later. Those reports stopped in March 1955, for months before the last mine officially closed. County records list no successor. Nobody replaced him. Nobody explained why. Whatever he documented in his final months has never surfaced. A 1978 courthouse renovation reportedly consolidated older mining files into storage, and several boxes covering exactly that period were logged as transferred, with no destination ever recorded. Historians researching Ammonite today rely almost entirely on newspaper clippings, because the government's own paper trail simply stops mid-sentence. One local librarian who has spent years cataloging regional mining history says she's requested the same missing boxes from 3 different state offices, and each one points her back to the other 2. Picture that inspector's final report sitting in a box somewhere, misfiled or forgotten, in a building that no longer exists in its original form. If the missing inspector bothers you, wait until you see what's missing from the road at number 6. Number 6, Vulcan, Virginia. Vulcan never had a road at all. Founded in 1908 on the West Virginia border, the town depended on a swinging footbridge, and later a narrow rail tunnel, for every delivery, every mail run, every trip to a doctor. State planners drafted 3 separate proposals for a proper vehicle road between 1938 and 1961. Every single one died in committee. The meeting minutes explaining why have never surfaced in either state's archive. Longtime residents remember something the official record doesn't. Survey crews arrived in 1955, driving stakes along a mapped route through the hills. Then they left without a word. The stakes stayed in the ground for years, weathered gray, until they finally rotted through and fell over one by one. The road never came. One surviving county engineer, asked decades later what happened, said only that the project got pulled from above. He refused to explain further. Vulcan still has no road today. Residents drive through a coal company's private rail tunnel under a decades-old handshake agreement that was never put in writing. A town that was promised a road 3 separate times and never told why any of the 3 plans disappeared. That's Vulcan's mystery, and it's one nobody in 3 counties has ever fully solved. Number 5's mystery is written in concrete, and nobody can explain who poured it. Number 5, Kmore, West Virginia. A concrete barrier sits at the base of the Kmore Access Road, and no federal contract from its era accounts for it. Kmore sat deep in the New River Gorge, home to over 300 mining families at its peak. A single road connected the mine works to the world above, carved into the gorge wall in sections so steep that mules refused the final stretch. Coal cars ran that grade daily from 1900 until the mine closed in 1962. Within a decade, the road vanished from county maintenance records entirely. No demolition order exists. No condemnation notice sits in the Fayette County Archive. The road simply stopped appearing on annual logs starting in 1971, 9 years after the last coal car made the climb. When the National Park Service absorbed the site in the 1980s, staff found the lower access sealed with that concrete barrier. Park engineers who examined it later noted the mix and pour technique didn't match any federal specification used in that region during the 1970s. Nobody at the regional office could explain who poured it or when. If you enjoy digging into records that don't add up, hit subscribe now. Because the next case is where the paper trail gets even stranger. Moss covers that barrier today. Rebar shows through in rusted streaks. Below it, the old mine works still stand, untouched since the last shift walked out. Number 4, Red Ash, Virginia. Miners drove this road for 6 years without knowing the ground beneath them had already failed a state safety review. Red Ash operated along the Clinch River starting in 1903 until an underground fire broke out in 1915. The blaze burned in the coal seams for years before crews finally sealed it off. In 1917, 2 years into that fire, state inspectors quietly classified the access road's ground as unstable. That classification never reached the public. A single reference to it survives, buried in a 1923 state mining bulletin, filed under a bureaucratic heading that has nothing to do with subsidence or fire. Local newspapers from the period don't mention it at all, and even the mine's own internal safety logs, where they still exist, make no reference to the 1917 finding. Whoever buried that report inside unrelated paperwork knew exactly what they were doing. The road carried loaded coal trucks over compromised ground for 6 more years after the danger was already on file. Nobody warned the men driving it. Today, the route is grown over, marked only by a shallow depression where the roadbed used to sit. The fire beneath it burned itself out decades ago. The buried warning that could have saved lives took even longer to surface, and it took a documentary crew combing through old bulletins to find it at all. Number 3 is where the cover-up gets official. Number 3, Wyden, West Virginia. A Freedom of Information Act request filed in 2019 came back with entire pages blacked out over a labor dispute that ended in the 1950s. Wyden was built in 1904 by industrialist Joseph Godfrey Bradley. and it ran like its own small country. Company police, company laws, its own definition of who belonged on company property. The single-access road in and out became a flashpoint during a bitter 1950s labor strike, when armed guards reportedly blocked union organizers from entering at all. State Labor Board files reference an incident on the access road in September 1953 without describing what actually happened. No arrest records survive. No injury reports were filed with the county, despite multiple witnesses later describing gunfire. Picture standing at that gate in 1953, watching armed men decide who passes and who doesn't, knowing whatever happens next will never make it into an official record. By 1968, Wyden's mine had closed for good. The road was formally gated 2 years later, citing safety concerns in a filing that offers no further detail. That 2019 FOIA request cited an exemption for ongoing security concerns tied to a dispute over 70 years old. No security concern from 1953 should still apply today. The redaction stands anyway, unexplained and unchallenged, and the researcher who filed the request says his follow-up appeals have gone unanswered for over a year. Number 2 isn't about a cover-up. It's about a death toll nobody can agree on. Number 2, Eccles, West Virginia. 3 government-linked sources list 3 different numbers for how many men died at Eccles, and not one of them explains the gap. On April 28, 1914, twin explosions tore through the New River coalfield mines above town. The first blast hit mine number 5 at 3:45 in the afternoon. A second explosion followed less than an hour later, catching rescue crews already inside the tunnels. The West Virginia Department of Mines listed 181 deaths in its 1914 annual report. A Federal Bureau of Mines summary that same year listed 183. A memorial plaque installed decades later lists 186 names. Genealogists tracing family history have spent years trying to close that gap. Some names appear on the federal list, but never made it onto the state report. Miners working under contracted names, a common practice to dodge company blacklists, may never have been counted correctly under their real identities. The company's internal casualty ledger was never released, and descendants requesting it today are told it cannot be located. In 1962, long after the mine closed, the state quietly shut the access road under a reclamation order citing erosion. No engineering survey supporting that claim has ever surfaced. Stand at that sealed gate today, and you're standing above ground that's swallowed somewhere between 181 and 186 men in a single afternoon. Nobody alive can give you the real number, and every attempt to settle it runs straight into the same locked company archive. And still, nothing on this list compares to the gate we open with tonight. Number 1. Access Route 7. This is the gate from the beginning of this video. It's still standing, and it's still locked. Local records name it only as Access Route 7, tied to a mining operation whose corporate ownership changed hands 4 times before the road disappeared from state maps. Trucks used it every hour through 1952. By 1953, it was gone from official record entirely. Each ownership transfer buried the previous company's paperwork a little deeper. By the time the road vanished from maps, no single entity remained who could explain why it happened. No demolition order, no safety filing, no reclamation notice, just a gate and silence. The land now belongs to a holding company that has never responded to a single records request. Not from journalists, not from historians, not from the families who once lived along that road. One descendant of a former miner says she's written 3 separate letters over the past decade, each one returned unopened. Locals who've lived nearby for decades can walk you to the exact spot where it sits, chained and rusted under decades of growth. Not one of them can tell you who locked it or why. 8 roads, 8 different stories. But somewhere on every single one, the same document is missing, the one that would explain what actually happened. The mountains kept the roads standing. The paperwork is what disappeared. And Access Route 7 is still waiting for someone to ask the right person the right question. 8 roads, 8 closures, and not one complete explanation between them. The paper trail always stops right before the truth. If a place like this exists near you, tell us in the comments. Subscribe, because the next one might have an answer we haven't found yet.